episode of the Director of Football Sabotage with Livorno. So in today's episode we are actually going to live com the Italian Cup final, which we will be playing against Juventus. And of course we'll do our end of season thing just to sort of wrap up the season and discuss next season. So in terms of the fixtures that you missed since the last time we met, the first of which was an away game against Napoli, which we won 5-1. Ralovic, Ponce, Ventroni, Mammarella and Kyle Wright with the goals for us. And this game here confirmed that we have won the Serie A title. And to celebrate winning the Serie A title, we had a home game against Fiorentina where we got beat 1-0. A 94th minute goal from Mariano Dennis got them the win. And in a game where our boys just weren't at the races. We then went away to Benevento and won 4-1. Ponce, Altena, Kyle Wright and Ralovic with the goals for us. And finally, Cagliari at home. Ponce got himself a hat-trick and we won 3-1. So this is how the league table looks with still 2 games of the league season to go. We currently sit on 90 points, 15 points clear of Inter Milan in second place. And it looks highly likely that it's going to be us, Inter Milan and AC Milan competing in the Champions League next season. So we are going to face Juventus in the Italian Cup final. I'm not going to play the final 2 games of the league season in this episode. They are completely irrelevant. Nothing will happen and nothing will change in terms of what's going to happen to us. So this will be the final episode of the season and we'll get into the Italian Cup final. So this is how we're going to line up for today's game against Juventus. Plazzari will be in goal. Zango and Mavropanos have both returned from injury and will be playing at centre-back. Ventroni and Vasilev as our wing-backs with Patrick, Kyle Wright and Castrati in the centre of midfield. Altena, Ralovic and Ponce leading the line. They come at us with a 4-4-1-1. Dybala, Moise Keane's turned into an absolutely fantastic player on this save. Unbelievable, really. The fact that they are currently sitting in 6th position in Serie A is a bit of a shock. I've often looked at this guy as a potential to come in at left wing back. It's highly unlikely to happen because he plays for Juventus. But yeah, some very, very good players. And this was actually the guy who I went for in January, Carvalho. He wasn't getting first team football like Juventus, but looks like he's picked up some games in the second half of the season. I'll probably be returning for him in the summer transfer window. But we kick off against Juve. We shoot from left to right in this first half. It would be nice to win the Italian Cup. Get that back under our belts, but I'm not incredibly bothered by it, to be honest with you. I think our board still do have expectations, but I would imagine as of next season they probably do not care about this competition at all because it has quite a low reputation as Moise Keane goes incredibly close there. Moise Keane's in behind again, same highlight and he nearly scored twice. And that brings a close to the first half. Only one highlight going Juventus' way. We'll kick straight back off. Our boys just don't look bothered in the last few games, although we have won the last couple of games in the league. That game against Fiorentina was just absolutely dreadful, and if it wasn't for the likes of Ponce and Ralovic really just being superstars, I would imagine we'll be struggling even in the league right now because everyone's just on the beach. We'll actually stick with this highlight here. Dybala takes the free kick, Plazzari saves it, and Ndombele, Castrati manages to get rid, and we'll look to make some substitutions. Castrati will come off for Milenkovic. Patrick will go off for Andrian. And with 25 minutes to go, we'll see if we can break the deadlock. We've finally got our own highlight. I'm hoping it's ours anyway. Vasilev on this left-hand side. The ball's trying to play by Ponce, but it falls back to Milenkovic. Now Ventroni's got it on this right-hand side. He can't get the ball in either. We're just struggling to break them down right now, but Ponce gets his head on it. He probably should have put us 1-0 up there. Another highlight. This time, Juventus are currently in possession, but they are quite deep in their own half. So they're going to have to play it well if they are to get any attack on our goal. And Milenkovic does extremely well to dispossess the Juventus midfielder there. Vasilev comes forward with on this left-hand side, switches the player to Ventroni on the right-hand side. And again, his cross is blocked. And that is incredibly poor. Zango, please don't. Don't do this. He kept it calm. Oh my God. I have never in my entire life had this happen to me. Or especially on a game where I'm actually recording. This is just unbelievable. Plazzari's asleep. Mavropanos again. Mavropanos just completely sells him down. I just can't. I'm just sick. I'm sure I read in the patch notes they fixed that sort of thing. They clearly haven't. And Zango equalises 2 minutes later after one very attacking. I'm staying very attacking as well. I don't want to go to extra time. But that own goal, that is utterly ridiculous. It's not the sort of thing that should be happening, really. Mavropanos, for all he's not a technically gifted footballer, he's not an absolute donkey. Yet that's the second time in a the past 3 episodes that he's just been an absolute numpty, and maybe he wasn't the perfect signing to replace Mats van der Ende, but there we go. Juventus get their second goal of the game with Dybala with a direct free kick. Absolutely fantastic strike. Plazzari can do absolutely nothing about this one. Or maybe he could, actually. He got it across quick enough. But, no, it looks like the game's going to finish 2-1 Juve, unless we can do something here. Kyle Wright is brought down in the box, and we do have a penalty. Or do we? It's a VAR. We have got a penalty. Who's stepping up? It is going to be Ponce. We all know that we are absolutely terrible at penalties, but Ponce steps up, puts it in the back of the net, and draws a level at 2-2. His 38th goal of the season. An absolutely fantastic one by him. And he draws us back 11. Looks like it's going to go to extra time. And there we have it. There's full time. We'll kick straight back off a second time. We'll make our final substitution of the game. Ventroni's struggling. We'll get Cafagna on at that right wing back slot. We're staying very attacking because I don't want it to go to penalties. That worked out really well last time. Highlight now. We've got the ball in the box and Ralovic is there. I think that all came. Was it our throwing or was it their throwing? I can't even remember. But it was their throwing. Absolutely terrible by them. Big mistake. Astrodal tries to find Dybala, and then it just eventually finds its way to Ralovic through Altener and Ponce, and we'll find ourselves 3-2 up, but we're still very attacking, which is maybe a bad thing as Juventus come forward, and Ciso's in the box. Oh no, Plazzari manages to keep it out. This is just a weird game. Highlight now, and Zango with the ball deep in their half, no, just in their half. But Juventus are pushing us, but we'll manage to find a way through with Altener and Kyle Wright. Cafagna offers his services on this right-hand side. Back to Kyle Wright, takes a strike, and it goes just over, tipped over by the keeper. Another highlight now, just before the half-time and extra time. Corner is headed over by Ponce, will kick straight back off for the second half. Hopefully we can hold on and get the win. Highlight now, Cafagna tries to find Ralovic in the box, but it does fall to Ponce. Vasilev's there, and Vasilev puts it in the back of the net. He makes it Livorno 4, Juventus 2. A great assist by Ponce. Some good work by Cafagna to try and find Ralovic in the box. It makes a panic header by the Juve defence and will work it well to find Vasilev in the box. And that makes it 4-2. 6th goal of the season for left wing back Vasilev, which is fantastic. It looks like we're going to win the Italian Cup, lads. 1 minute remains in the match, and this will probably be the final highlight of the match, and Juventus are in possession. Proenza manages to find Okoro on this left hand side. He gets the ball in. De Bruyne is there. Just so many gaps there. I don't know why nobody was tracking the run. We're almost trying to play the offside, but that's just silly when he's got the ball pretty much at the byline. There was just nobody marking him. 5 Juventus players in the box there, ready to slot it home if De Bruyne didn't. But there's 20 seconds remaining in this match. This might be the final highlight, unless we manage to kick it in the back of our own net again. Juventus come forward again. Okoro gets the ball in. Plazzari claims it this time. We are over the allotted time, so hopefully the referee will put me out my misery and put an end to this match. And there we have it. Livorno 4, Juventus 3. We have won the Italian Cup to go alongside our Serie A title, which is absolutely fantastic. So we are going to end the season here. We do still have 2 games left in the league, but they are completely inconsequential. So I am just going to completely ignore them as if they're not even going to happen. We'll talk a little bit about the players and what's going to happen next season. So Ponce is a world-class player. He is said as much by our scouts and our assistant manager. He's worth £66 million. He's wanted Borussia Dortmund, Southampton, Bayern and Wolves. We all know Wolves love a good player by us. He is not willing. He is willing. He's willing to discuss a contract, finalise promises, key player. He wants 150 grand a week. There's nobody even half as close on that as anyone in our squad. But Ponce is worth it. So we're going to absolutely just chuck money at him and hope that he will stay at the club. We'll manage to tie down Ponce to a new 5-year deal. £170,000 a week is by far and away the highest earner that is currently at the club. Let's just take a quick look at that to see what that actually, we've just completely broke our transfer business. 84 grand a week is the highest earner that's still currently at the club. And now we've just signed someone on 170. You know what's going to happen during the summer. A lot of players are going to come in and request new deals. But I feel it's worth it for Ponce. He's one of the best strikers on the game. He's got, 26 goals in 29 games in Serie A, 6 goals in 9, with 4 assists in the Champions League as well. He's just an unbelievable player who I would not be able to replace should he leave the club. Now, him signing a new contract doesn't mean necessarily he will be here next season. He is, of course, still wanted by a lot of big clubs. So we'll have to wait and see what happens during the summer transfer window. I am going to try and do the same with Dragoslav Ralovic. Try and tie him down to a new deal. Having them two as consistent as our two strikers have been. 27 goals in 46 games for him this season. 14 goals and 32 in Serie A. With 9 assists, 7 goals in the Champions League. He's done fantastic, and it's his debut season. We're signing for £2 million, and he's performing like that. So I would like to tie him and Ponce down. Ponce now, as long as he signs, he's tied down. Ralovic, I'll look to do over the summer. Altena, he's reached his potential. This is probably as good as he's going to get for us. He has performed absolutely magnificently this season, though. 11 goals and 12 assists in 31 games in Serie A. 3 goals and 8 in the Champions League. So he's not a player who needs replace him based on his performances, but based on his attributes he is a little bit lacking. So if there is somebody who comes in from Real Madrid are currently interested, he's worth 45. He might end up leaving the club, which would be a shame, but I wouldn't be too upset about. Carl Wright has came in and had a fantastic season himself. His debut season after joining us from Celtic for £23 million. 7 goals and 8 assists in Serie A. Fantastic stuff. Hopefully we can keep hold of him. Adebayo Zango, another one who's had a great first season. 26 games in Serie A. He did miss quite a bit through injury though, which could be quite a concern. And as we all know, centre-back is going to be an area that I'm going to look at to try and improve during the summer. DeMarco, I think he's comfortably now our backup left wing back. I think Vasilev is going to make that position his own over the course of next season. But I have no interest in selling DeMarco. I would rather keep him in the squad. Petarada found himself having more game time than he would usually have due to the injuries that we did suffer. He is wanted by quite a few clubs as he was transfer listed by request for quite a while. He has now withdrew that transfer list by request, so we'll see what happens with him. I'm happy to keep him if he's happy to stay as a backup option. Solossi, quite a lot of injuries this season for Solossi. He's one of our highest earners on £84,000 a week, but if he is to come back into the squad, I'll be happy to have him. Ventroni came in January and did fantastically. Vasilev came in, 12 assists and 6 goals in 33 games from left wing back is a good set of results. I'm really hoping he can become bright green at the left wing back slot. He's been being trained there all season and hasn't really changed so far. Patrick came in for a big fee in the summer, and I think he's justified it in the defensive midfield role. So hopefully we can keep a hold of him as well over the course of the summer. Milenkovic is wanted from Liverpool. You know Liverpool can steal our players if they should like, so we'll wait and see what happens with that. And in terms of the rest of the squad, any of these players here, you know, there's a lot of them who will leave the club because they just didn't get the game time. Pulsari is one who I'll quickly mention. I don't want to lose him. We could potentially lose him. He was wanted in the January transfer window, but he's also a position where I think we could potentially upgrade. We'll have to wait and see what happens with that. In terms of the transfer budget, we do have £75 million and 100 grand available in the wages over the course of the summer, but we'll be able to play about with that, you know, in terms of when players leave, we'll be able to bump that wage budget up and get some new fresh faces in. We're sitting very comfortably in terms of our balance, £86 million, and we've of course got all the money still to come in off the end of season. In terms of the competitions, Champions League quarterfinals, is it going to be the West Ham curse? We didn't get out of the quarterfinals until we won it. Maybe it might be the same with Livorno. Italian Cup, we've won that. Was that the first time we've won it? It might well have been. And we won the Italian Super Cup as well. So that's going to bring this season to a close. Ponce, top scorer, best average rating, most assists. He is the legend. Milenkovic, best pass completion. Ponce with the most match of the awards. Carl Wright, our dirtiest player. We had a few red cards this season, but not as many as we've had in previous seasons. Everything's going well with Livorno. It's going to be a busy summer transfer period. I would imagine even if Ponce does sign a new contract, he might still end up leaving the club. I'm not sure how the AI interacts with a player who's just signed a new deal, but we'll wait and see, and we'll wait and see what happens. Anyway, if you have enjoyed today's video, please consider leaving a like, and if you are enjoying my content, get yourself subscribed. But until next time, take it easy.